I think Baby Steps might actually be one of the most unique, interesting, and fun, satisfying games I've played this year. But the critical reception has been pretty mixed. That makes sense to me, though. It's a literal walking sim that seems to want to punish you at any point. But what is surprising to me is how some people have responded to this game.
For years now, the SS crew, mostly Colin to be fair, has been complaining about the curation on the PlayStation Store with too much low-quality stuff getting past the goalie, but now you play fucking Baby Steps. One of the most sloppiest games.
It's not really a video game. It's a streaming curiosity. It's an object for sharing online out of context. It's kind of the perfect Twitch slop.
So over the weekend, I finally completed Baby Steps, and I was thinking about some of these responses, and I personally just think they're wrong. Before we get into it, though, if you have been enjoying my channel, if you think I've been doing a good job, go ahead, leave me a like, leave me a subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps me out. You guys have been super supportive of the channel so far. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So the team that made the game Ape Out made Baby Steps, and I think most importantly, Bennett Foddy is kind of one of the visionaries of this game. And some of you may remember some of his past titles, in particular, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy is clearly under this, what people call streamer slop game, where it seems like it's intentionally designed to make you mad. And of course, streamers can put on a big show about how angry they are, though if you've played any of these games, you know that's actually probably pretty authentic. So in Baby Steps, you play as this big man baby who has been teleported, isekai'd, one might say, to another world where he must progress and travel in order to try to get home. And the hook is that each step must be very deliberately made. I played the game on controller, and your left foot is controlled by your left trigger, right on the right, of course. And you use the left stick to kind of lean the main character forward. And so initially, this feels, I don't want to say terrible, but it feels weird. You're not used to controlling a character this way, of course. So you initially are going to be falling, slipping all over the place. But as you start to play, you realize there's a rhythm to it. And I think as the game really progresses, you realize how tactile this is. So initially, just walking down a straight path is really difficult, but you start to get the flow for it. But of course, the game doesn't just give you straight paths to walk up. This game is all about the rough terrain. And a lot of people have comparing this game to Death Stranding. I believe this was actually an inspiration for the game, where a lot of people said Death Stranding, like, oh, this game's a walking simulator, a package delivery simulator. And that's true. But it can feel kind of derogatory to just say it's this boring, mundane thing. But then when you actually play it, you realize that they've made a really interesting game about simply walking. And the challenges are pretty extreme at various points. You're going to be walking up broken stairs. You're going to be going up mud, different kinds of debris. And it can be pretty frustrating, especially at first when you're learning about how to take each step. But as I said before, as you play, you start to realize, like, oh, this system can actually be quite tactile. I think a big revelation for me is realizing that as you step, there's a little shadow underneath where your foot is going to go, much like any other 3D platformer. Not that this is a 3D platformer, or is this a 3D platformer? Kind of. You are platforming in 3D space. I don't know. I just got a text from one of my friends that said boys need to do another Applebee's/Chili's trip again. I'm down. So with a game that's so focused on one core mechanic, which is, of course, walking in this case, it needs to be fun. It needs to be satisfying. And I think that that was one of the shocking parts for me as I started playing the game, is that it's like, yeah, you can barely move at first, but within an hour, I was really booking it. And this is going to sound completely ridiculous, I think, to someone who has watched this game, but there's some kind of zen quality as well, that as you're walking, it's this satisfying feeling of overcoming, getting to the next step. And I found it oddly relaxing at points, but not always. Baby Steps is not an easy game. This is actually a very tough game. And the game is not shy about that. It will present you with ridiculous situations, which first you look at and you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm doing that. But then you think, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. And you start to try. And then you try, you take a few steps, maybe you fall, and you're like, oh, okay, let me try that again. You get a little more motivated. You start to build up confidence as you get higher. And I know people are going to want to immediately click off this video when I say this. Just hear me out here, please. It reminds me of the feeling of getting over a Dark Souls game or beating a boss in a Dark Souls game or Elden Ring, Bloodborne, whatever. Your initial try, you're going to think, man, I can never do this. But you realize you can work up and eventually find that high level of satisfaction of beating it. So no, I'm not saying Baby Steps is like Dark Souls.
It's the Souls-like of walking simulators.
Maybe that is actually a little bit true, but no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear anyone say that, even if it is true. But I think part of the mixed nature of the reviews is just not everyone has the same tolerance for what they find frustrating or what they find satisfying. So yeah, like I said earlier, this is not going to be for everyone. Having my wife Holly watch me play this game, she was like, this is cool. I could never play this. And I totally agree. She is not the type to try to do the same thing in a game over and over again, only to fall on your face. And fall on your face you will in Baby Steps. And speaking of Holly too, one of the things when we were playing this game, she kept asking me questions like, how did this guy get here? Who are these animal people with him? And yeah, the story of Baby Steps, if you want to call it, I don't want to say if you want to call it a story, but it is really weird. And I could see that also being contentious. You are isekai'd, taken away to this place, presented with some few loose goals, and then kind of set off with weird and strange cutscenes in the middle that you either are going to find funny or you don't. I think the important thing, though, is that you got to just not take it that seriously and kind of accept things at face value. I think there is maybe some deeper level to this game. I would love for a YouTuber to come out with some kind of deep analysis into Baby Steps, because I think there might be something there with some of the level design, and you're this low confidence nerd who can barely even walk, who's just sitting in his basement watching One Piece. It's starting to sound a little too real. So I think there may be something there to think deeply about, but in terms of like a standard plot or structure, it's not really going to be there. And that's okay. I think if you know that going into it and just accept like, okay, this is what it is, just take the weirdness and soak it in. I love stuff like that. I think one of the things that is lost in translation when talking about this game, maybe some reviews have talked about it, I don't know, but the world design is maybe the most impressive part of this game. And when you look at it, it looks like a very clear open world to the point where it could feel a little overwhelming. I think the game does a good job in pointing you in the right direction. And I think that there's a little bit too much gamer mindset coming into this game where it's like, okay, this is a tough, challenging game that's going to try to beat you down at every point, make it from A to B and do it as efficient as possible. But I found the most enjoyment in this game when I was just exploring or thinking, oh, that looks cool over there. Let's go see what's going on. And you kind of need to put away some of that gamer mindset too with what you're doing as far as finding these objectives. This game isn't like going and getting to this interesting place and getting something out of it. And I could see that not really working with the gamer mindset today, where everything needs to give you an NXP boost or a weapon upgrade or a stat buff or whatever. You're kind of actually just playing this game for fun. And I find that really refreshing because not a lot of games are willing to do that anymore. And based on the response, I can see why. This game, as I said earlier, has been cast as some kind of streamer slop game. It's only been made so streamers will play it and get, people will laugh at the streamers playing it and raging it. And maybe there will be other sales generated from that. But then people just play it and not really like it. And it's true. The reason that I started playing this game was for Sacred streaming over at Last Stand, where I played the game, checked it out, and I thought it looked cool, but I wasn't necessarily thinking it was going to be a game that I wanted to play all of. But after that stream where I played the game, I was like, man, this actually has a lot of really interesting depth to it and something I find really satisfying. Were there points that I was really mad at the game? Yeah, absolutely. There were times where I just had to stop and give it up because I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And then you stop, you go play something else or go do something else with your life. But then you start thinking about it and you're like, you know what? Maybe I can do that. It's the satisfaction of playing the game that really compels you. But one of the things that makes the game work so well is that if you do fall and after all this progress you made, the way the world is designed is that there's not just one set path up, talking about the open world from earlier. If you fall, you may find a new path that I don't want to say is easier, but maybe just something that's more suited to how you play the game and to get up. Some paths may be a lot shorter, but be a lot more difficult, whereas others, it's like, yeah, it's going to take longer, but you'll be able to achieve it. I think if this game was just one set linear path like Getting Over It, it would be way more frustrating and annoying than it is. But the fact that it gives you these options makes it a lot more compelling. And I think you got to make that switch in your brain. I know I did when playing it, where it's like I made all this progress, slipped down a mud river. I thought, man, I am never going to be able to get back there. It's going to take me forever. This sucks. And so I decided to just go a different direction. I was like pissed about it going a different direction. And then I realized like, oh, there's cool stuff over here and a whole new way to do this. And yeah, the game does funnel you into specific levels, but I think that those are also really fun. So I had no problem with that. So yeah, the idea that Baby Steps is just a game to be enjoyed by streamers and watched by an audience, I think is just completely wrong. Sure, I did start the game streaming it and having fun with the audience, but if that was all it was, I wouldn't have kept going on my own, by myself, playing this game, getting angry in my living room at 1 a.m. But at the same time, overcoming crazy odds and feeling insane levels of satisfaction. So if you think you're the type of player that loves a really hard, difficult challenge, but overall really fair mechanics and how to do it and getting over that skill gap in order to progress to the next level, I think you might really like this game. I think people are writing it off because of that streamer aspect, and it's not fair. If you're on PlayStation and you are on, I think either the extra or the premium tier, I can't remember, you can get a 1-hour trial of this game. Highly recommend checking that out to see if it's something for you, because man, that 1-hour trial is what sold me on the game. So yeah, Baby Steps, I absolutely loved it, and I was so shocked by it. I had to do this video because I just want people to give things a shot. You know, even if you see all these streamers playing something, there might be something to it. And I definitely think there's something here with Baby Steps. So check it out. And that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think about Baby Steps down in the comments. If you are resigned, you're never going to play it, maybe because of the streamer aspect, or just because it's not your kind of game, let me know. Or maybe you're interested. Hopefully I changed your mind a little bit in this video, but let me know. And of course, if you could subscribe to the channel. I've also been streaming on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. EST, where we just hang out, either talk about the recent videos I put out or talk about whatever gaming stuff. We'd love to have you there. So until next time, we'll see you later.